Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, free enterprise fans around the world, and welcome to week 8 of the Eblan Elixir League featuring the Moonveil Mixer flag sets. My name is Possum Morpheus, and I am joined in the booth by the lovely JMac, the librarian. JMac, how are you today?
That sounded so formal.
That's because I'm a professional, JMac.
Fine.
We have to balance each other out.
Next time, I will do the intro. Oh, God. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you so much for asking. I'm happy to be joined by you in the booth, having Dathis restreaming, and having Maggie the cat doing the tracking. Also, super happy to see a telehero that makes one person. Everyone else is probably like, ugh, Tela. But that's fine. I love Tela. He's fantastic. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with this. Also, this moon kind of seems required with a Tela. That means darkness crystal. That means Tela. What else does that mean, JMac?
Mac Giant grind.
Yes, Mac Giants, exactly. I'm here for that. Have we seen Mac Giants in this tournament yet?
I haven't.
Ooh, I haven't either. But I know what we have seen in this tournament. Four fantastic runners. Well, doors, yes. Four fantastic runners getting off to a start here with a vanilla cane, surprising nobody. A glass hat. That's actually quite good defense. It could open up some very interesting early possibilities. And a sparkle. Well, not a required boss necessarily, but a spooky sparkle early on could be rough if our runners decide to make an early Baron visit.
I like spooky sparkles. You never know what you're gonna get.
It's like a box of chocolates, right? I want caramel.
Yeah, but then you sometimes bite into it and it's like that coconut cream and it's gross.
Yeah. Hard agree on that. Also, here's our runners agree that Watery Pass is the place to be. I don't think I've ever seen 4 runners go to the same place.
Nope.
Now, let's talk a little bit about our runners. We have Microkorgs, Rex Banner, Yoshikion, and the Bardic Panda. All 4 of these runners are part of teams that are in playoff contention. Microkorg's part of the Rusty Spoons. Korgs individually has a 5-0 record so far in this tournament, undefeated. His team is at 4-3 with the best tiebreakers of any 4-3 team, so playoff aspirations for them. Rex Banner, part of Big Trouble in Little Kaipo, currently 2-3 individually, but the team is 5-2, and also still has those playoff aspirations. Yoshikion, part of the team New Moon, is 2-3 individually, 5-2 overall. And Bardic Panda, part of Last Minute Decisions, is 4-1 overall, 5-2 as a team. So all of these matches very heavily riding on playoff implications. And on top of that, the Rusty Spoons and Big Trouble Little Kaipo teams have already played one match this week. Zilch took a game off Slippery, which puts the Rusty Spoons up 1-0 on Big Trouble in Little Kaipo. So there is your rundown of what is at stake here, folks. Lots of playoff aspirations on the line here.
So what you're saying is this should be a great restream.
They're all great, but yes, this one in particular, with what's weighing on it, what's on the line, I think our runners are going to be putting on a heck of a show for us.
For sure. Chat says that there was a Cecil in that bed.
The Sand Ruby definitely holds some extra importance then, if there is a Cecil that is available. Cecil kind of is the guy, and swords for the guy are fairly readily available. Also worth noting, things that are usually not readily available but wonderful to find. Some of our runners have located a black belt to go with the strength ring that we start with. That actually makes Kane kind of viable right off the bat, which normally you wouldn't be able to say that.
Yeah. And Artella has a power staff. Also not terrible. Especially for whatever he has to face in the glass room later. Oh, look. Our favorite laughing man.
Yeah, so this is both good and bad. This is good in a sense that you're very happy to know that you're no longer searching for Golbez. But it's bad because the virus here does just enough to kill a party member. The Lit 3 will absolutely obliterate someone. And the agility is just in the wrong enough spot that Tell is going to be a little awkward in this fight. Kane hopefully stays in the air for the runners that are jumping here long enough so that he doesn't get eaten by Shadow. Looks like Korgs. Unfortunately, Kane comes down. Oh, but it was after the eating, so the snake says, no thank you, I'm out of here. Woo-hoo! Kane gets the veil off, and so Korg showing some great execution there, getting that jump off.
Oh, well, speaking of required bosses, Antlion has our football gauntlet today.
If this gives darkness, I think we can just agree that we're about to see like the fastest Moonveil mixer seed yet, and that Dathis just had stuff to do and wanted to give us time back on this Thursday.
Oh man, I don't know. At this point, with these two bosses being like right here, darkness is going to be buried behind a required Demus, like at package or something. Like, that's what it's going to be. This is too easy.
Could be. I will say that it looks like Rex Banner had picked up a Blizzard Spear somewhere. I'm not sure if this was in Antlion Cave or if this was in a different location, but that Blizzard Spear is doing work against this gauntlet. So while Korgs is getting through that Golbez, Yoshi, Kion, and Bardic Panda seeing that Golbez and fighting it, Rex Banner making very quick work of an otherwise awkward early game gauntlet in many cases.
Yeah, definitely showing some heads up. I think we're also getting some use of these. Oh no, he does have a Blizzard Spear. He also had like a lot of blizzards.
Holy moly. I think the kids these days are calling it WeHo, the West Hobbs checks. Leviathan Orb, Gungnir Spear, both on the back of Hobbs. That is quite the pull for Microkorgs.
Yep, now we just need to find an early game Rydia. And, that can be an easy way to get through a majority of the checks on Earth.
Yeah, very easy way to get through those checks. And when you're done wanting to care about Earth, we can go underground and maybe find some sirens and coffins and hourglasses and get our characters really up to snuff. But that early magma key coming from Antlion Cave as well is really going to increase the speed at which our runners are able to get through some things.
Yes, I think we will probably see at least one, if not multiple, of our runners doing some early shopping underground and peeking some of those shops to find some of those J items that will help get through some of these spots, especially because we know Tella has to go and fight a boss by himself. So we're going to need to find some of those multi-target J items as backup, things like that. So yeah, the world just kind of opened to us in this first 6 minutes. And also gave us the gear for this party with the Cat Claw and a Gungnir and some good defense. Like, I don't know what's going to stop us.
Yeah, it's not going to be particularly fast, but it's going to be safe, which, there is merit to that in getting through your fights the first time and not having to reset and take wipes. And our runners are all doing a good job of that. Clearing things out, very expertly managing what could be some awkward and difficult fights early. Worth noting as well on Yoshi Kion's side, not only do we have a Dark Elf here, which is another awkward, fairly slow boss, but the shops in Fabul there was an Elven Bow and Charm Arrows, as well in that shop, there was a Thunderclaw. So just a lot of goodies just hanging around in that Fabul shop.
Yeah, all the things that you need to get through any potential problematic bosses early on are just kind of being handed to us by the seed. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice when the seed provides, because so many times you're sitting there wondering, how am I going to do this? Why is this so awful? What do I do? Where's my power? How do I proceed? This seed is giving you fairly clear direction, but it is going to be interesting to see where our runners go. I'm curious if anybody decides to make the decision to head underground and do it early. But it looks like on Rex Banner's side, we're going to Ordeals. Yoshikion and Bardic Panda's side, we're doing Fabul. Korg's side, it looks like we are flying over the Ordeals way as well. So nobody willing to take the dive underground yet on the Magma Key, which is quite interesting to me, actually. I would have thought we'd see somebody want to get access to some better gear, to do some shopping. So yeah, this is going to be curious to see how it plays out for sure.
Yeah, and I'll be very interested to see, especially the boss up here in the mirror room, but also these bosses up on the bridge, because that could deter our runners to go elsewhere. Because yes, we have a Kane and a Gungnir, but you know, our Yong's not really doing much, and we're not quite up to power play yet.
Yeah, I'd be particularly fearful of a Magus Sisters up here on Ordeals, either at the first or second, or I guess even the third spot. Magus Sisters at anything on Ordeals this early with a party that doesn't have mage mashing gear would be very spooky. The magic at these spots is higher than you think. The physicals don't exist, which is whatever, but the magic is very scary with the Magus Sisters. Korg's showing us that both jump and power will not trigger a response from the guards, also showing us that recall will not trigger a response from the guards. So doing everything he can to not have anything appear in the way of counters. Also noting Fabul Defense gives us a Bacchus wine today. Yippee!
I mean, yeah, it'll be used, as opposed to some items that don't get used. So there's that.
Yeah, thank you for defending our kingdom. Have a drink.
I mean, that's pretty par for the course in most fantasy stories, so it's not that far off.
We now do see Korg's running into a bit of a problem here. His entire team now has, become small, and that might be a problem.
Okay, well, he did manage to get through that. So good job on him, as does Rex Banner. So we are pretty neck and neck in the top race. And in the bottom race, both Yoshi and Bardic Panda are headed into Antlion to fight their gauntlet. So you know what? All things considered, first 12 minutes, our racers are following each other.
Yeah, very close races. And that's to be expected. Korgs find this turtle treating his Yang a little rudely here. Looks like that Gungnir Spear, though, should pay off a little bit here. Rex Banner going to have that Blizzard Spear, which will do extra damage to Kainatsu when the wave is down, but when the wave is up, will not do as much damage as Korg's Gungnir Spear. We also see Korg's opting to use a Zeus Rage here for the turtle, which is a bit of a risk because that could leave us an extra J item shy of potentially getting Tella through the third fight here on Ordeals. So I am hoping for Korg's sake that he is not what we would call punished for making what is a good play to get through this fight faster, because Tella is a tough cookie to take through the Ordeals fight by himself, even with a power staff.
But Possum, no one is ever punished playing this randomizer.
Yeah, of course. I've played a couple thousand of these seeds and I've never been punished. You are
Never
dead on with
punished.
that. Never punished. There's even a hashtag for never punished.
Okay.
But yeah, moment of truth, realistically, for this early game. You've been talking about the third boss here on Ordeals. If this is a required key item, if this is, let's say, Darkness Crystal, as wild as that would be, our runners are going to have to get through this at some point. So the spookier the boss here, the more awkward it becomes for our runners. And it looks like we are going to get an Artemis bow, which is not helpful for this team in the least. A Sparkle could be interesting. Our runners are going to have to deal with a Wyvern if they want to get...
Quick.
Oh dear. Their Tella online. That is a fast on a Wyvern. We have a Stardust. Do we have another J item for this Tella?
Lit Bolt and a Blizzard.
Okay, so these are HP-based J items. These are going to go through the wall, which is good. We need one more of these to fire. I think this is slow enough that we'll be fine here, but this will challenge our runners a bit to get through this if they are not quick on their menus. Korgs is quick enough on his menu. Tella hits just hard enough, and through the Wyvern we are, which is huge to get Tella his spells.
Yes. And you know what? Hopefully Dwarf Castle rewards us with an Artie Bow user that can, use that. And the charm arrows we have in the football shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll see who is available, not just there, but also Baron. Shockingly, one of the things that's kind of become meta in this tournament has been peeking Baron in. No one peeked it to this point, so we're just now seeing a bow user in Porum, which is a character that exists, and a Dr. Lugate fight as well. So yeah, a bow user for this party is good.
Listen, Porum on this flag set is pretty rockin'. You need a white mage. And she's a good one. And she does a lot of defense for Z fights.
Yeah, any white mage in a storm. It's really, really good. We see Rex doing battle with this Wyvern, uses a Zeus Rage, uses a Stardust. Much simpler fight for Rex than what Korgs had to go through. But both runners do make it through. Really highlighting the importance of those J items. Being able to get through this fight in particular, that's why you save those items. So yeah, very, very good, very heads up. And this is a horrific fight in Baron and 2. Mom Bomb is not fun here.
No.
This is going to be especially challenging for Korgs and Rex if Tella goes down, because they are not going to have access to anything but basically a virus cast to deal with this. They're spent on J items, so they're not going to be able to clear the bombs efficiently once the Mom Bomb explodes. Worth noting also, Bardic Panda is our first runner to dive underground, so we're beginning to see the goodies in the Fey March soon. I'm excited for that.
Yes, this free key item, which we are about to see. Drumroll, the Baron key. I don't hate to see that, especially early, because that is 3 boss checks, which in a normal seed, we would be looking for bosses. Not really in this seed, but it is also a gated character, which means that there could be a Foo or a dupe Cecil just kind of chilling there waiting for us to pick up. So not a bad place to go back and visit, especially because Bardic Panda has not yet done Baron Inn.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. It routes in very well. We see Yoshi Kion using a Blizzard with this cane against the bombs. Blizzard is an HP-based J item, much like Lip Bolt is as well. So it's only going to do about half of the HP that Kane currently has to those bombs, which is not going to be enough in this case. That is also a Fey March that exists. The Dark Imps are relatively free at the Asura spot if we find hourglasses or coffins. What is not free, though, is that Odin at Leviathan. We will likely see Rex Banner in particular try to do some sort of cheeky Thunderstruck strats, or we might just have the Darkness Crystal, a sling-shottable Porum, a Tella in our party with weak, and probably because this would be Dathis calling back to the Hook 2 race in ZZ3, Panic on the Moon. Do your grind, do your D machine, carry on, my wayward friends.
There was so many musical references. Oh, goodness. Okay, well, yeah, so Bardic Panda is underground, coming back up, setting up the Sheila 1 check to see what kind of key item we can pull from Sheila. Meanwhile, Yoshi is saying, you know what, I'm going to go check this character up on the moon and see who my potential D-Money party is going to be.
Yeah, I think that is the prudent play. We actually see Microcords setting up the Baron manipulation for D-Machine before launching the whale and before knowing who's even on the moon. This is a man committed to a plan immediately.
Yeah, definite props to him for knowing and just doing it. And you know what? It doesn't even matter. He's not going to shop for a character. He is going to stick with these 5, whoever they may be.
Yeah, and also worth noting, Bardic Panda did show us that we have a plastic surgeon today as our dwarven job person, normally a farmer in vanilla. We are not farming today.
We are going to get a moonshot check. Maybe looking for, some of those key items, those hourglasses. We do find silk webs. Very useful for our Z fight, especially with a party that needs Z to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, silk webs are phenomenal. With a Tella hero, if we don't find a cursed ring, we definitely are going to want those silk webs. Basically going to take Zeromus from one relative agility tier to the next, potentially even 2 tiers down. The TLDR on that is it's going to make Zeromus much slower and more manageable for our runners, and that is a good thing. Silk webs apply 2 stacks of slow, which is very important to basically getting you in a proper position to successfully defeat the big bad final boss. Rosa is a mage. Not a black mage, but this gives us Porum and Rosa to slingshot. Yeah, that is the juice that our runners need. Even if it's not a black mage, 2 mages is good enough.
Yeah, especially when you can potentially get them to white. And yes, it's going to be way slower of a cast time, but consistently with a little bit of gear, both of the white mages can hit Zeromus with that white for quad 9s. So will make for an interesting, probable hybrid strats for Z at this point.
Yeah, and also worth noting beyond that, because the slingshot is still available, our runners only need to do 6 D machines to get both Porum and Rosa to white. So it's a relatively quick grind as well. Yoshikion also finding Soma drops in the shop here in Mysidia. So not only do we raise the whale in Mysidia, but the Soma drop is there to get our Tella to 100 MP, which then opens up for 4 weak casts instead of 3, making the fight even easier to get the grind on. I would be surprised if we don't see our runners pick up that Soma drop for those who are planning on doing D-Machine, because it will simply accelerate that and make it a lot more comfy to complete that grind. And we do see Microcorgs picking up that Soma drop.
Yeah, and not to mention, you don't have to buy nearly as many ethers when you only have to do 6 week or 7 week casts.
Yeah. And
So.
It is worth noting on this flag set that typically D Machine is not the play. I've run countless of these, and I know you have as well. This situation is uncommon, but we are blessed to get to see something a little different. A callback to maybe tournaments past. I love to see what runners can best execute something like this, to see if they have maintained their practice. Rex Banner showing us that we have a karate hanging out in Value Cave. That is not a fight that is possible right now. After a grind, though, that is easily a possible fight.
Yes, and let me tell you, the number of D money seeds that I have played Moonveil Mixer is 0. So I would be well out of practice. So given the seed, I would be full deer in the headlights in panic, because that is the play. And yet, where is my chart?
Right. Bardic Panda getting a Tela recalling Fatal against the guards, A+ gameplay. And also was our only runner so far that went underground. Did show us that we do get a tower key coming from Sheila 1, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. I think the Feymarch freebie was the Baron key, if I'm not mistaken. So we do have a little bit of key item equity coming out of the underworld as well. But looks like our runners are all progressing through this, and we're starting to get a little bit of deviation. For example, we see Korgs going just head on into the D Machine setup. Rex Banner is going through and heading underground now, while Yoshi and Bardic Panda are both clearing ordeals at this moment. Yoshi Kion has filled out her party, while Bardic Panda has spent a little more time not doing those character checks to this point, but progression checks and underground.
Yeah, I do love, especially on these 4-person restreams, to watch how people are tackling the same seed, and knowing that there is no wrong way, especially this early. It's just a matter of preference, a matter of gut, and a matter of just what you're most comfortable with doing. So it's very interesting to see the approaches from all 4 of our runners tonight. And how they're going to potentially handle this Telehero D Machine platter on a plate. Silver, here you go.
You're making me hungry, J-Mac.
I know, I'm sorry. Also, all of those words were in the complete opposite order. Maybrain. It's okay. I'm good.
See, I just learned about this Maybrain thing from you. I was not aware that existed. But
okay, it only really exists in the education world when it's the last week of school. So it's fine.
All right, we see Korgs picking up Rosa, Yoshi picking up party members because Kainatsu was a jerk. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe preserving a slingshot. I know that Yoshi Kion and Bardic Panda are both slightly less experienced runners than Korgs and Rex Banner. I know that Korgs and Rex Banner both are very familiar with how to execute a D Machine grind. I'm not certain if Yoshi and Bardic are. So I think with Yoshi's tactics here, it looks like she is setting up for D Machine, though. As those white mages are not getting revived. I say that and then they're immediately getting revived. But I don't know with every runner who is going to do what. So I am curious to see how, not if we're going to get D Machines, but how many we're going to get from our various runners.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but Rex Banner just bought 10 sirens. So that's leaning towards maybe a no.
Yeah, Rex may be saying, I don't feel like I want to do this. A lot of folks will simply refuse to D-Machine without a black mage. Because while white or holy, however you would like to phrase it based on your video game and choice of spell terminology, if you will, that is a very long cast time for less damage than what Nuke will get you. So Korgs is committing to basically a team of 2 Zerkers, Tele existing, and 2 white mages. There's going to be very little flexibility outside of maybe exactly a Cecil being picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, this is Korg saying, I am going to take these 5 people, and I'm just going to run with this and hope it's good enough. Whereas Rex is leaving himself more open to a stronger endgame team, even if they're less strong in the middle. So it's a very interesting race in particular for those two because of the very contrasting styles that they're taking to this.
Yeah. And you know, with this Kane, yes, he's got a Gungnir spear. Like we've got the equipment for this party, but like it's not the best. Like Kane and Young are not necessarily going to be your two top choices for Zerkers. So the siren play, even on this like very perfect D-money seed, is not a bad choice either.
Yeah, definitely. And we see Yoshi able to get through that Wyvern. I believe Bardic Panda was turned away. I did miss it. But I think...
No, they threw a Grimoire and beat it.
Oh, they did? Okay, perfect. So they are through as well. So all of our runners have made it through that very rude Wyvern. I think my eyes are just deceiving me. Because I didn't see the Darkness Crystal on all of our runners, and I was using that to kind of, try to stay on top of everything. We see Korgs using bombs here as a trigger to get each D machine to appear. Always nice to buy bombs or Thor Rages or Notices. Very cheap J items that cast a level 1 type spell. You go ahead and use that and then run through and trigger those D machines to pop out, cast a weak on them, have somebody bop them, and then life glitch those D machines as well. So in this case, unfortunately for Korgs, Rosa, it looks like got bopped, which will throw the turn order off a little bit downstream here. So hopefully he's able to recover this and get the party order back correctly. Meanwhile, Rex is doing a play that there are probably half a dozen people in this community who will even attempt this.
No.
And Odin says not today. Rex is going for Canderstruck strats. J-Mac, would you like to talk about Canderstruck strats for the fans out there?
I would love to. These are strats that I have yet to ever pull off successfully. However, Kane can jump. So we can jump over, bad magic attacks, such as Odin's Sword Slash. I cannot say that name correctly.
Zantetsuken.
Yep, that one. And so you can time it correctly and jump over those attacks. And then after the second one, you throw up a lightning spell. And Odin is like, oh no, he fries. That's it. And that is Canderstruck. You can also do Odin struts with Edward, where you can hide and then come out and throw the lightning spell as well. And yeah.
And surprising absolutely nobody, Rex absolutely nails the first one and nails the second one, because why wouldn't he just one-shot this? Does he get the Thor Rage off as well? The Thor Rage is queued, the Thor Rage is up. Kane is a legend. Rex is... It's just unbelievable.
Like, he makes it look so easy. Like, it's not that easy.
No, it's so difficult. He is absolutely not rewarded, and it is tragic, because that is just, like, to do that in one shot, there are less than a half a dozen people in this community that can do that. I can't do that. And I reckon I'm decent at this game. I cannot do that in one shot. Like, for Rex to do that for y'all is just beautiful.
I love it. We take this game so super, super seriously all the time. There's no memes, no funny business here. So yes, that was a super, super serious strat. and not at all, any way, shape, or form, showboating.
Rex is a man of the people, and I believe
a man of the people.
As our restreamer Dassus would say, we're here for it. Looks like Rex has had enough adventures in the Fey March. Yoshi is deciding, I'll go join you in the Fey March. Bardic Panda is progressing through the overworld. Korgs, I reckon, has to be about done with this D-Machine grind, unless he's looking to do more than just a slingshot on the 2 white mages, maybe getting Yang and Kane to a power overwhelming state. But I want to say this is, I think, number 6. I think this should be the last D-Machine on Korgs' side, while Rex is going to crack some XP as well. So a lot of XP on Korgs' side, a little bit on Rex's side, and we'll see what Yoshi and Bardic Panda decide to do from here.
I mean, Bardic Panda just went and bought a Soma drop. It would not surprise me if he is also setting up for a D-Money.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And we see a Psych come out on Korgs' side. Porum has been lifed up after being down the entire fight. So that tells us that we are done here with this grind. I think this is going to be 522,700 XP if my math is correct. And that'll be doubled for the white mages. And we got 522,700 XP. Perfect. Korgs was counting his D-Machines. That's a number that, if you're familiar with slingshots and D-Machines, you're going to know that number whether you want to or not. But Korg is going to have all of his power for these white mages. Basically, the seed is his oyster now. It's just simply a matter of where does he take it.
Hey, Possum.
Hey, J-Mac.
Did you notice what Rex Banner did during his egg grind?
He set up for a D-Machine.
He did set up for a D-Machine. Yes, he killed off his Yang and his Rosa.
Rex also found ethers, if I'm not mistaken, that Korgs did not, which is going to make this quite a bit easier. The underground shopping paying off for our runners who are deciding either to do later D-Machines or deciding to do no D-Machines. With Sirens available, it's absolutely a possibility that we don't see, D-Machines everywhere. Personally, I would hop on that grind as quick as I could. I would very much so take Korgs' approach. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that it's the correct approach, because by doing that, you're also now beholden to the moon, which is where Korgs is going. Basically, you're going to do these checks, do your moon objectives, full clear the moon, and if you end up down the wrong rabbit holes, the D-Machine just becomes bait because it sends you on a wild goose chase. So instead of finishing on the moon with Cave Bahamut and Ribbon Room, you end up stuck in a situation where now you're chasing all these ancillary key items that don't have payouts, when, let's say, Dwarf Castle could have Forge, and maybe the Dark Imps that are free on the Fey March have the Twin Harp, and your go mode is literally in front of you by doing 2 checks on the blue planet. There's always that part of rando can rando, and why even a D-Machine, as fun as it is this early, could be the wrong play.
Yeah, and there have been many seeds where you do the big brain thing that ends up not being so big brain. So that's why we love a randomizer, because you just never know. And that's what makes these races so exciting. We are going to get to see our first Baron Castle check. Bardic Panda is heading in, so we will get to see what that starting sparkle is momentarily.
It's not Wyvern.
It is not Wyvern. You are correct.
Also, can we find Iridia for you already? Because we found 4 Leviathan orbs, and we know there's a Bahamut summon.
All the summons. Well, you know
everything.
What? Yoshi is about to do a character check as well. So maybe she's just chilling out in her vanilla spot. We'll see.
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. Magus Sisters are pretty dang rude here. The magic is overtuned at this spot to make sure the vanilla dolls can or excuse me, the vanilla big doll in the Calbrena fight
Mm-hmm.
can land glance and other things. So the magic here is going to one-shot everybody. Maybe not Yang, but also if Cindy punches anyone in the front row, it's going to be pretty nasty. Yeah, goodbye, Rosa. And exclamation mark Doot for J-Mac.
Come on now. Can we not do aim and what? Okay.
There you go. You got a berserk.
Yay!
Imagine a Dootless scene with you on comms.
It's so sad. It's happened before. When like he's in the ribbon room or the tower and like, you know, it just gets one shot and it's just so sad.
Speaking of getting one shot, even after all these levels, half of Korg's team has gotten one shot by this karate. Because, spoiler alert, in vanilla, if a boss doesn't punch, it has like a max attack stat. Bahamut doesn't punch, so naturally this karate is terrifying here until your blinks are up.
And we don't have a Cecil to cheese it, so we've just got to get through all of the hit points as fast as possible.
And shoutouts to Yang on Yoshi's side, straight up missing an attack here, which is not ideal. Good work, buddy.
And he's front road and everything. Come on, man.
There is objective 5 for Korgs. I guess a quick recap here. All of our runners have completed objectives 1 and 2, Golbez and Gauntlet. So for the runners, nice to have those bosses out of the way already. This is our first non-boss objective to be completed. Cave Bahamut going down and giving a rat tail to Korgs, and we'll see where he goes from here. I expect one of two things: either the Murasame altar into the bottom of the moon, or just going straight to the bottom of the moon, since that's where the objective is. I don't really see any alternative path for Korgs at this point, but for our other runners, we may see some other varying paths. I am disappointed, J-Mac, at the second boss on Bardic Panda's side.
Yeah, like, what is he doing there? I mean, okay, fine, he's playing King. Like, you can definitely see he's wearing a fake crown today, but he's not up on the moon. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Silly little googly eyes. Korg's deciding to go down to the bottom of the moon, where it is most dense, where our objective is. Mostly because, you know, sometimes when you come to the moon early, you're looking for those 10 key items to do a grind, but Korg's has already done a grind, so we don't need double XP from Ribbon Room. We're just gonna go to where all of the things are.
Speaking of where all of the things are, I mean, not this Sid. This Sid is kind of whatever. But Yoshi has found that Dwarf Castle is not a single check, not a double check. It is a triple check.
Triple.
Oh, baby, a triple.
Woo!
Anyway, demist. This is the last boss that our runners have to care about. This is very comforting from a runner standpoint. Yoshi is in key item hunt mode. The rest of our runners are still in potential boss hunt mode with Demist outstanding. But having Demist show up for Yoshi means that she no longer has to care about anything but key items, does not have to peek anything like the Luca Cave, for example, or face check any other bosses, package, all of those things can just kind of pass on by and be like, yeah, I just need key items. Things that are not key items, a Dragoon Spear. Although, for Bardic Panda, who does not look to be doing D-Machines, a Dragoon Spear for eggs is probably about the best thing you could find.
Yeah, that is true. And, like, you know, if you're going to get a Zonk, at least get a Zonk that's, like, super useful. And Dragoon Spear is one of Kane's top weapons.
Yes.
And it looks like Kane is just going to be in our party. Like, I think he's just here to stay at this point, since we know that there's a Sid at Dwarf Castle, and that's not very happy. So, yeah. And whoever was at... I didn't even see who was at Baron. But we didn't take them.
Yeah. So the runners and their character choices aren't really choices so far.
No.
So that's kind of the problem. We got Ghost Hand though on Yoshi's side, which is
yes,
best
we
hand.
did.
Ghost Hand, best hand.
Best hand, absolutely.
What does Dwarf have in store for us today? Luca is wearing a pass. I mean,
Okay.
That's like, as far as dwarven fashion is concerned, less awkward than so many other things she decides to wear.
Yes, because let's pull tails out of our shirts, please.
And a spoon.
Okay, so not progression. Closer to 10 key items, I guess, with the spoon. Not super useful. But we'll see where Yoshi decides to go next.
Looks like above ground. Probably Baron, if I had to guess. Yeah, on the way to Baron. Makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, Korgs has found Asura in a ribbon room. We have no mage mashing gear. And this is 42,000 HP of... I mean, we can reflect spells, but it's still 42,000 HP. And it's going to take like 8 or 10 spells to get through this. It's just a slog. It's air quotes free, but it's a slog.
Air quotes free. They're never as free as you think they are. They take work. And this is taking work.
And we have Bardic Panther going to give us our first peek at the tower. Going through and going to, looks like, poke around with some trap chests as well in the tower. These are some pretty comfy chests. You can go ahead and just jump with Kane here and probably, I hope, one-shot them unless he betrays us.
Which is known to happen.
So, but while all that's going on, Rex is done with his D-Machine grind. I don't know if we got all the way to white on our team, though. This may have been kind of a half grind. Yeah, we're in the low to mid 40s. Rosa learns white, I believe, in one level. But I think we're kind of doing like a half and half here rather than a full grind. So we'll see what becomes of that for Rex. He's also peeking. Who is here in the giant, it looks like. So we'll get to see what boss is there, while Korgs gets a package and an adamant armor. Package is a required key item for Burning Mist, and an adamant armor doesn't stink. So the do your objectives thing paying off for Korgs in a big way here. Now down to needing either a twin harp or both halves of forge for go mode.
Yep, that will make these moon checks very quick and easy. If it doesn't lead to anything, you reset out. If it is not exactly what you need, you reset out. So yeah, we don't need a pink tail. We just got an adamant armor.
Yeah,
we don't need a loopy key.
Yeah. And we don't need XP for Korgs either.
Nope.
He has the XP already, so he can very aggressively reset out. Now his Z fight will still be one that exists with no Curse Ring for Tella, 2 white casters, and Gungnir Spear Kane exists and Yang exists, but like that's a rough hybrid fight. It's certainly doable for a runner of Korgs' caliber, but it's rough. And it looks like Rex is fighting an eyeball.
With 65k.
Yeah, this is a really annoying eyeball.
Yes, that it is. He's definitely putting out some power, though. Yes, to answer. Maggie in chat. Yes, he is at Giant 1. He's peaking because we have not seen D-Mist on Rex Banner's side. So to make sure that we can not leave any outs, any places where we can get got, and to kind of close that gap a little bit, he's gonna go through this as quickly as he can.
Yeah, and looks like the White Spear reward, or the White Spear altar reward was a Dragoon Spear, so a little bit of not French vanilla per se, but some sort of weird vanilla or weird ice cream flavor. Now I want ice cream also. We have,
Neapolitan?
yeah, Neapolitan, we'll go with that. We have Val at the Moss altar. This is a fight that exists. Kane is our best friend in this fight. Betray us as he might. He jumps, the tornado breaks, and then the white casters can actually cast their spells.
It was an Edward and Baron. That is interesting because Yoshi has the spoon.
Yeah, I like the pickup better than someone in the party for sure. I don't know who, but Spoonward is what folks would call a force multiplier. He does a lot of damage and does it very rapidly. Doesn't do much else very well, but but damage with a spoon is something that Eddie can do.
And you know what helps that damage? Getting an adamant armor from a required ribbon room.
That is true. Certainly will assist in that. We have our blinks going up on Korg's side. Worth noting for all of our runners, they have really put on an execution showcase. We've seen very little in the way of trouble for these runners, very expertly making their way through all of these checks and being able to just kind of very gracefully complete all of the tasks. And that demist, that dwarf castle, yielding us a legend sword on top as well. So the pieces are coming together very quickly as we see yet another summon from the Masa altar, Bahamut Orb number 2, to go with Leviathan Orb number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rydia, eat your heart out. Where are you?
Hopefully on this giant, because Rex will get her then. After a deep money grind, of course he will pick up a Rydia.
Yeah, well, he's got to get through this Ruby first.
But does he?
Ruby...
Does he have to?
Well, no, maybe not. This Ruby is mean.
It's super mean.
Okay, there we go. Nobody lives but Kane. But he is done. The XP goes to Tella and to Kane. Probably wanted some XP on those white mages, but he can't. He could reset and then use jump strats to not get the counters. But I think Rex is kind of done, and there's your Rydia that is not going to be taken.
Oh, he was doing it for the character check. Very interesting.
Maybe on a Cecil search to try to get a lot of gas for the party to really power through, thinking, yeah, I did a D machine, but like I still got the moon to level someone up.
Yeah, I don't hate that. That is what I would call a cheeky spy, which, you know what, Rex Banner is known for being cheeky. Oh.
Yeah, certainly is. And to answer a question from chat as to why would Rex reset here, the reason is he wants this last arm chest as opposed to the character. So rather than completing the giant, he wants the trap chest. Doesn't care about the XP long term, and is rewarded with an adamant armor because, of course, they're just everywhere in this seed.
And in case you missed it, Bardic Panda took that last tower eyeball and found a crystal sword.
Yeah, I think that might be the second one for Bardic Panda. I think there were 2 tier 8s in the tower trap chest. I think they were both crystal swords. And yeah, the adamant in the ribbon room, adamant in the last arm chest, crystal swords hanging out.
Oh, there's another crystal sword.
Vanilla crystal sword.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is vanilla crystal sword.
But it was not a vanilla boss because we already saw Wyvern. It was just Leviathan there, which is, I mean, free and free and free and free because there's no magic in that spot.
Nope, not at all. Because, you know, Mega Nuke doesn't count as magic or something.
But we do see here Korg's going back into the lunar subterranean, going to take on that Murasame altar. Rex going to fly somewhere and figure it out as he goes.
My
Seems to be
favorite
heading
strategy.
Yeah, seems to be Fabul. Did he defend Fabul? Actually, that's an interesting question.
I don't think so.
Gotcha. While we see dueling Octomam fights for Yoshi Kion and Bardic Panda, this is a keyless tower play on Yoshi's side, whereas on Bardic Panda's side, this is both the tower key and the top of tower. So a little bit of routing efficiency on Bardic Panda's side, but on Yoshi's side, it has already gone through and cleared a little bit more of the game content. And has a spoon word, which is,
yes,
plus for the fans.
Yeah, plus, and he'll start making Yoshi go faster through a lot of these checks. Because as Edward gains levels, albeit slowly, that spoon will just keep hitting and hitting and hitting.
Yeah, and Edward, especially if all of our runners end up with an adamant armor, Edward with an adamant armor is the truth. That is very, very potent.
And it looks like we did get a sand ruby from the top of tower, which, if chat was correct at minute number 2, that's a Cecil in the bed.
And Bardic Panda has no shortage of swords for said Cecil.
So many swords.
So yeah, that would be a big boon for Bardic Panda. So while Yoshi Kion would have the spoon, Bardic Panda would be equalizing a bit, if not surpassing, with a Crystal Sword Cecil. Especially knowing Demus is at a relatively innocuous spot for having to worry about Holy Weakness, and or Holy Strength, Holy Resistance, and we just fought Octomam. Meanwhile, Korgs gets through the evil wall at the Mura altar, finds our last key, so we now know where all 4 keys are. But that Luca key is not going to be of any benefit to Korg's long term, as he will do Dwarf Castle, I would assume, first, get the rewards, see the Demist, and realize, I don't need no more bosses. Yep. We get a hook from the tower key for Bardic Panda.
Oh.
That is interesting as well. It opens up the best shop in the game outside of the Forge, because there's 2 guaranteed Tier 5J items there, like Bacchus wines, hourglasses, sirens, coffins, etc.
And Leviathan orbs.
Yeah, because we need more of those. Clearly
we need all the Leviathan orbs.
Need Leviathan orbs for my Leviathan orbs.
And you get a Leviathan orb. And you get a Leviathan orb.
I want to summon Leviathan that can summon Leviathan.
Whoa.
And the screen is just like,
okay,
Inception levels of covered in water.
Inception is happening on Free Enterprise. Oh, look, it is 56 minutes and 35 seconds, and Korgs is throwing the magma key down the well. Let's go.
Okay, but real talk on this. Love the approach from Korgs on it, because he made the concerted effort to not have to even go underground. Like, very much so had a clear plan and was like, I'm going to execute this. Whether it works or not is irrelevant. It's a master class in saying, I found something I want to do and I'm going to see it through. Again, love the approach. The Magus sisters are not appreciating Rex Banner's approach, by the way, as they have just evaporated. And Rex will soon find that there is a demist available as well. And Rex not taking the approach of blowing up the moon like Korgs did, taking the approach of get some levels, go take on the rest of the content that is relatively easy.
What a disappointment. I did not mean to interrupt you, but that's Sid. Dupe Sid. Not a Cecil. So sad.
Yeah. Characters. Sid is amazing, by the way, early on in a seed. Unfortunately, Sid is not amazing beyond about the 20-25 minute mark unless he's used as an emergency chemist. Not great for damage because his weapons are outside of Supersmith kind of just bad. It's tougher to get like Artemis Bow, Artemis Arrow combination for him on this flag set. So Sid's just in an awkward place after the early to mid game. I love seeing Yoshi-Kion use weak on the eggs while we have D machines available. I think that is just the funniest thing. It's a great approach to take out the eggs, mind you, because it's guaranteed to hit in the middle slot, but it's just fun to see it. Like, I'll show you D machines, I'll weak these eggs instead.
These eggs that sometimes surprise you.
Surprises, sneak attacks, back attacks, etc. We have the pass and the spoon on Rex's side. Bardic Panda, I believe, did bounce off of these Magus Sisters the first time. We kind of alluded that this is kind of a rough fight, and is back and means business now. So Bardic Panda also will get that pass and a spoon fairly soon. Korg's doing battle with these Dark Imps. We do not know what these Dark Imps have. The only person to take a fight in the Feymarch so far, of course, was Rex, because why wouldn't you take Odin at Leviathan before a free boss at Asura? Korg's trying to stone the Dimps saying, nah, Tella, not happening.
But it's off slot Tella. So silly.
Yeah, it should work.
It should work, you're right, but we all know how things should and shouldn't happen.
Yeah. One of the fun things about this fight, if you're ever in a kind of a pickle on this, just cast Size. If you don't have Hourglasses, you don't have Coffin, just cast Size on the Dark Imps. Basically reduces their attack down to nothing. Also reduces their defense to 0, and they take double damage. So Size can be your best friend in this fight, even if you don't have the tools necessarily to succeed. We get an apple, so we now know that Feymarch has an apple and a Bahamut summon, which is to say no value for our runners.
Nothing at all. But you know what? It just shows some fun fights. So we're here for it.
Speaking of fun fights, Yang is about to have a blast in this next fight. Odin, not so much.
Thunderclaw, do some work. Oh man. And Korgs is so high in level that Odin isn't even one-shotting his mages. I love it.
Also, the actual Zantetsuken is not going to one-shot Yang. He can actually live through as he's just, cleaving here for quad 9s. Korg's not even healing, knowing that even if this Odin were to fire, his Yang is going to live. So there's 4 punches. Yang has decided, Odin, you've met your match. I am the winner, and I will happily accept my Bahamut Orb and realize the Feymarch was not the right play. But it was fast.
It was fast. And he's keeping the Bahamut Orb.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just keeping the XP.
Yeah, just exiting. It's done. He didn't use any resources, so onward and upward. Yoshi-Kion is in Cave Bahamut with an underleveled party attempting to take on this Karate. This is aggressive. This is difficult. Mad props to Yoshi if she is able to get through this, because at these levels, this is not a safe fight. I will personally be very impressed if Yoshi is able to manage her way through this.
But so far, Yang seems to be targeting the characters that Yoshi puts Blink on, so got a little bit of some good rolls there. Again, blinked character. Bardic Panda getting the spoon. We see Rex Banner going in to fight his free cannon room. Korgs is headed to an undetermined location, probably Sheila, into tower. And this seems like a pretty good spot to remind you all to follow our restreamer Dathis and our tracker Maggie, and of course my co-commentator Possum the Librarian. Oh my god.
Really? We're doing this? All right, Jim at Orpheus.
I'm just gonna stop talking for a minute.
You know, normally when doing commentary with you, J-Mac, the goal of the other commentator is to make you snort while laughing. Very rarely is it you. Yes, very rarely is it you who makes yourself snort on repeat. So I consider this a win for everybody involved. Now that all being said, make sure to follow our runners also. They're the ones actually putting on the show for you. We're just here talking about their wonderful performances. Give everyone behind the scenes a follow, of course, and give J-Mac the librarian, I guess is her name, a follow or something. I don't know. What are names anyway, other than funny letters all put together?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes with underscores in them. Oh.
Meanwhile, Yoshi still alive in this fight against Karate. This fight, as y'all can see, is quite a bit more difficult than it looked for Korgs, who had all of the levels. We're doing damage as best we can here. The white mages are keeping everyone alive with Blink and with Cure. A great job of rotating with Yoshi, of using Cure to heal up the kicks and then using Blink to avoid the punches. Basically managing this fight perfectly in order to try to get through it. And it looks like, according to chat, Korgs may have forgotten D-Mist. We'll see if he remembers. But huge props to Yoshi on getting through this Karate. That was an expertly managed fight to balance the blinks and the cures to keep the party alive there. It was wonderfully done.
Absolutely. And you know what? All of our runners tonight have been doing just a fantastic job on some of these bosses at all different types of levels. We've seen the super high post-grind kind of fights and just how quick they can go, but also just the being diligent, and patient, and just making sure that ultimately you don't wipe and lose all that time. So definite good job to all 4 of our runners.
Yep, they've put on a heck of a show. It's been a pleasure to watch so far. And, you know, even though we have slowed down the pace a little bit from, you know, seeing 2 bosses that were required within the first 2 minutes, and a Darkness Crystal in Baron Inn, runners have not slowed down as far as their execution. Everything is still very much in form. It does remain to be seen, though, where is our harp? Where's our adamant rock? Where's our pan? Where's our earth crystal?
All of it is
it all
behind
buried
this
behind
Baron basement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, aren't we kind of like out of options?
We are out of options, actually. This has to be it. It has to be something. Well, I guess
the rat tail our tracker in. Maggie, pointing out. So who is going to have the hook and the rat tail first? Because currently, 2 runners have the rat tail and 2 runners have the hook, and neither of the runners that have the hook have the rat tail, and vice versa.
So yeah, this could lead to everybody doing everything, just in completely different orders. Love it. Yeah. Love to see it.
One of those kind of like routers relish things. Like if you saw a spoiler log, you'd be like, oh, well, I can do, you know, I can name that tune in 9 notes. I can complete this seed in 6 key items. It's like, yeah. But then there's the actual game. And there is a twin harp for Bardic Panda. So Baron Basement having the twin harp, that is the clearest path to go mode, I would imagine. If Korgs just goes and does Baron Basement, he will be in go mode at that point, having access to the package already, which came from the objective ribbon room on the moon. Mm-hmm. So this is a pretty clear path for Korgs at this point. It's also possible even that the twin harp is a double if the adamant rock is there also.
Then you get to go and get an awesome teleweapon
that possibly Porum could use.
Yay!
So in the case of Korgs, could be relevant if we're looking at, you know, double white reflect strats. could be relevant for all of our runners. You know, I don't know what direction everyone's going to go, but if Tella can share a weapon with Porum, that would actually be huge for Korgs from a damage standpoint against the Romos.
Mm-hmm. So we do see Bardic Panda doing a little bit more shopping, and then he is headed up to Cave Magnus, which means we're gonna get a kazoo check here pretty soon.
Yeah, I for one hope that we get a kazoo rendition of whatever it is that a potion seller sings about. But I know that that the rest of chat is probably hoping for things like Freebird or who knows what else.
I hear Zelda music's really popular, and some other game. I think it starts with an X. I don't know. I hadn't heard of it before.
XCOM?
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not it.
Oh, I forgot. Hook came from Tower Key.
Yeah. So we're gonna find out what this rat tail is. But basically, just kind of making sure to make the harp check as awkward as possible for everyone and remind you that it's the worst check in the game, even if the music is super cool. And Board and Calamity and Xenocat have done amazing work on it. It's still the worst check in the game.
I don't know. It's been pretty great in this flag set in particular.
It has. It's been a statistically viable check in many flag sets. That doesn't mean it's good, but Fate Heart.
I think there's an emoji out there about that.
There probably is.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like an emoji problem, or a them problem. Or a you problem, or a me problem.
Or an everyone problem. It's an everyone problem. But you know what isn't an everyone problem? Harp music. Whoop whoop.
All right, fine. Enjoy the harp, y'all. Thank goodness it's finally over. Hey, a pigtail. We can get an adamant armor now. That seems like a good reward.
Yeah, from this required harp, absolutely. And Korg's found a pan from the rat tail, which is leading him to Sheila, which also gave him an earth crystal, so that actually might point him away from his go mode. And maybe into an alternate go mode.
Well,
but hey, nice Avenger.
If you're gonna zonk, that's a pretty good zonk.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So I believe this means that Earth Crystal has the Adamant Rock at this point?
Yes. I guess so.
I think we're out of other stuff. So Korgs is either going to end up in go mode via Baron or via Zot. Well, no, he doesn't have a legend
Nope.
sword yet.
He has to go to dwarf.
So he's either going to end up in go mode via Baron or via Dwarf, which incidentally I think are the only two things he has left after this.
Yep, I think so.
So it really speaks volumes about that early grind and just absolutely blitzing the seed, being able to get through what is going to be basically everything in under 90 minutes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a full clear in under 90 minutes. That speaks to a lot of skill and practice and menuing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do also think now that Bardic Panda is at 10 key items and is doing the rest of their grind. So this is going to catch Bardic Panda up. Has completed Cave Magnus, has gotten that pink tail. Didn't see if they turned the adamant armor or turned the pink tail in for the adamant armor yet, but is going through and chopping up these eggs with various weaponry. And Korgs is showing us some orbs at Zot 1, going with the Avenger swap on Kane. This is an awkward fight from a reflect or white cast status because, well, there's a wall on CPU. So we best hope that Kane and Yang can just beat this not floating, not actually machine to death.
Yes. Meanwhile, Rex beat the Ribbon Room and has come back down to Earth. Which it really could be a very big play because we know where this kind of leads.
Well, Rex is going to turn in the rat tail, which leads to the pan, which leads to the earth crystal, correct?
Yes. Which will lead to the other half of Forge. So yeah.
Yeah, so both runners are going to be in
go mode pretty soon.
Rex is going to be in go mode first, potentially.
Because Korgs does not have the sword yet.
Korgs has very limited paths of where to go, though. This is really interesting. I think Korgs' team is better set up level-wise long-term as well. But I think that even though Rex might get into go mode first, I think Korgs is still slightly in the lead, but it's very close between the two of them. It's a little harder to say for Yoshi and Bardic Panda at the moment because of diverging routes, but worth noting that Panda is picking up this adamant pre-moon, so everything that they do is, going to be a little quicker, but is down the Edward with the spoon. So that's an interesting point as well, that only Yoshi is riding that Edward with the spoon. Everybody else has chosen to say no to the bar.
Yeah, and this is where you start to see the differences in party comp as well, and just how the characters you have not only affect like your kind of routing decisions, but just the fights with them themselves, and just how the rest of the seed plays out with who you have in your party.
And we see Korgs is on his way to Dwarf Castle. Makes a lot of sense. Dwarf Castle is 2 key item checks, and it's faster than Baron. From just a pure time perspective, it's just faster, so it makes a lot of sense. If you're just comparing the two together, you already know that, in Korgs' case, Demas is still out there as well, and that we know that Baron first boss was a Sparkle. It's not demist. So Korgs has all the incentivization in the world to not bother with Baron at this moment. It would be, in his case, the Major feels bad if Baron were the answer. But I think just playing off stats and playing off feel, that Korgs is making that play based on those things. That's my best guess.
Or he could have seen demist in Zot.
Oh, yeah, that's also a real good point.
Thanks, chat.
Yeah, that's probably a really astute observation by chat. Yeah, A+. Chat passed the test. See, this was a teaching moment, J-Mac, and chat really did a bang-up job on passing that test.
Good job, chat.
Chat smart. Bottom line. End of story. But we see Rex on his way up into the Tower of Zot, going to pick up his Adamant Rock at the end of this. Korg's going to be picking up the Pass, the Spoon, and eventually... the Pass and the Legend Sword. The Spoon is in Baron. So Korgs and Rex going to be very similarly in Go mode. At about the same time, they both still have to burn the package. But I think that Korg still has a bit of an advantage. His grind is done. I don't know that Rex's grind is done for his team. But Sea Hero is a heck of a flag. Mm-hmm. Z fights are not free, and this party is not OP. This is not the Cecil go burr, put an adamant armor on him and just watch the world burn. This is quite the other end of that spectrum.
This is also not your just run-of-the-mill reflex strats. This is hybrid and not the hybrid that you want, because you don't even have a black mage.
And chat also pointing out Yoshi has a cursed ring and nobody else does, to our collective knowledge. So that is also a very interesting point to bring up, that Yoshi's party actions are happening in a much better order than everyone else's, and it will make the Aromas fight quite a bit easier for Yoshi once she gets there. Korg's going to get the Legend Sword from Demus, that's what it was, from Dwarf Castle. So that is going to put Korg's in Go mode. Conveniently also is already here in this village, so can just hang a left and go south a little and just go ahead and burn everything down. Very astutely remembers to take the Avenger off. Otherwise, we'd be fighting Cecil for 12 and a half years.
But look at Cecil! He's here!
If anyone has a sword for him, it's not out of the question.
Well, we know who does have a couple of swords for him.
We know Bardic Panda has some swords. It is not out of the question, even after a full grind is done. If you're not comfortable with your party, you could take that Cecil, slap an adamant armor on, slap a crystal sword on, and just make it safe.
He'll do a lot of damage for base level.
I don't think we're going to see that in Korg's case.
No. But maybe in some of our other runners. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Could definitely see it in Bardic Panda's case. Also, I think in Bardic Panda's case, they are about to be in Go mode as well, because the package comes from the Ribbon Room, right?
Yes.
So yeah, Bardic Panda has done the harp, is about to be done the Ribbon Room, is going to get that package, and that's going to put Bardic Panda in Go mode as well. And on Panda's side, having access to that crystal sword, there's a world where I can see Bardic Panda taking that Cecil.
Yes. It would surprise me if he doesn't.
Yeah, it depends on his level of comfortability with the endgame. For Korgs and Rex, I absolutely would have the utmost confidence that they can get through all sorts of weird busted Z fights with weird wacky agility. but it takes a long time to get to that level where you're comfortable with it. And one of the things that I always love talking about is, grind until you're comfortable, loot until you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Push yourself out of your comfort zone in practice. Don't push yourself out of your comfort zone necessarily in races. Take everything you've learned and implement it. But you don't usually want to use races for experimentation.
No. No, you don't.
Korgs has his crystal at 123.30. There's a world where we can sub 90 this still for Micro Korgs, which would be a heck of a time for how much content he has cleared in this seed.
Which is everything but Baron?
Yep.
And the hook route.
Baron.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like that, Korgs is flying over, not stopping for any additional grinding. I don't think we have a curse ring for Tella. We are taking the adamant armor off of Kane, or excuse me, off of Yang, and putting it on Kane. So looks like we're probably getting Zerker strats with a touch of hybrid. I don't know how much hybrid, but the Z flags are out. What's that mean, J-Mac?
It means that I stayed up way too late and need to go to bed. This is what that means.
Fair. Yeah, nap time is good. Sleep is good.
Oh, wait. We're still live, aren't we? It means that it is time for the Zeromus fight. Because we all love Zeromus. But you know what we love even more than Zeromus? Our Zeromus sprites.
Yeah, the sprites are cool. I hope it has a hat. I hope it has a butt. I hope it's a volcano with a butt and a hat.
No, I don't. No. That one's so weird.
I love that one. All right. Let's do the thing. Whose twerker are we gonna zerker tonight?
Hey. I don't know. Maybe it's a Sephiroth.
I think there's lots of them in the pool.
Uh-huh.
So pretty good guess. I will say, if it's a Possumus, I'm cheering for Z. Sorry, runners. The crystal is tossed for Korgs. Rex Banner, meanwhile, has his go mode, his crystal. The package cutscene is done. Does Rex have to grind anymore? If not, and he goes into the Z fight, he will be but a wipe behind. That is Devonmus. I don't know what that's from.
I have no idea what this is from.
So, Breath of Fire 2, thank you, chat. Chat smart, confirmed again. I guess it has a hat, and it certainly seems like it has a butt.
It's probably got a few butts and a lot of eyes.
And maybe even many hats, and all sorts of... There's a lot going on in this, right?
It's multiple... Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have Rex heading into the Z fight as well. So Korg's first in, Rex going to be second in, Bardic Panda going to be third in, as Bardic Panda only has a package left to do. Yoshi, I believe, still has to clear either the Tower of Zot or find the Twin Harp. So Yoshi has made some amazing plays and some great decisions so far, but just has not ended up in the right area for those particular key items. Korgs is going with the hybrid strategy here, casting whites with the white mages, casting zerking with the Kane and the Yang. So trying to push as much damage as quickly as possible to get through this fight and secure the weak win for Rusty Spoons and an undefeated 6-0 record for Korgs if he's able to get through this successfully.
But he cannot make a mistake because Rex Banner is right on his tail.
Yeah, Korgs is also right on the boss's tail almost. The thing is like reaching out and trying to grab Tella or something. I think that's a tail. Is that a tail? Is it a wing? Is it?
It's not a wing. I think it is.
No,
a
he's
tail.
got wings up top.
Yeah.
Maybe those are arms. Yeah, those are arms and wings up top, and more wings near the feet, and that's a tail probably.
And a lot of toes. Anyway, Yoshi also taking the Cecil from the package.
Yeah, I don't hate it in Yoshi's case because she's not in go mode. Mm-hmm. So she still has more content to clear, needs to get through some other fights, and that Cecil's going to get a slingshot, basically getting double XP or quadruple XP, double from 10 key items and doubled again for being more than 5 levels behind I think it's the median average of the party, something like that. And it's one of those things where it makes a lot of sense in Yoshi's shoes to take this Cecil.
Absolutely. But even though Bardic has multiple crystal swords, decided that go mode is sweet enough and crystal is sweet enough, and he is headed right into the Z fight as well.
Yeah, not 1, not 2, but 3 potential Z fights happening at the same time. Definitely, a very exciting race, and on Bardic Panda's side in particular, we're talking about Korgs and Rex Banner as like 2 long-term incredible runners. Bardic Panda is not new to Free Enterprise by any means, but to be up there with Korgs and Rex and maybe but a couple moments behind, this is an incredible performance as well by Bardic Panda. We do see rocks on Korg's side. This is done and dusted. He's made it through. A couple big bangs, a black hole. Korgs is going to cement his 6-0 individual record, and the Rusty Spoons are going to move on, at least to have a fighter's chance at making playoffs. I don't know if this confirms it for them or not, but they're probably on the inside track at this point.
Yeah, time will tell with all of those 5 and 3 teams, 5 and 2 teams, 5 and 2 teams.
And there it is. Z is crumbling. Korgs has officially completed this seed, doing everything except for Baron in just over 90 minutes. That early grind really paying off, and we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the Korgs. GG to you, sir.
Thanks, Korgs in the house. Was I the only one that? Was I the only one that did the early grind?
Yes.
You were the only one that immediately went for it and just said, heck it, we're committing to whoever's on the moon. And we noticed you set up the Baron Manip even before launching the whale. Like you committed to that super early. Rex did a D-Machine grind, but waited a little bit and did not see it fully through to where you slung both of your white mages to their holy spells right away. So a little bit difference in tactics, but you were the only one who full committed.
Yeah, on seeds where it's available, I always feel like it's an arms race and you just got to do it. And in my head, I was thinking like, who's my wish list to find on the moon? And Rosa was 4th. It was, Palom, Meridia, Cecil, Rosa. And I said, okay, it's kind of not the most exciting D-Machine, but let's do it.
Yeah, it's hard to turn away a double slingshot almost no matter who it is. And just going to stop real quick and say GG's to Rex coming in less than 70 seconds behind you. What a close race between the two of you. Can't say I'm shocked at all by it, because the both of you are phenomenal runners, but what a performance with 2 very wildly differing strats.
Yeah, GG Rex for sure. We always race close. I think if you tally up every race we've ever been in, we're probably pretty close to 500 against each other. So I knew it'd be close. And when I got back from the moon and just kept having to do more and more things, I wasn't going to be surprised if Rex took it. I was, on the other hand, I was just really hoping, of course, what we have 4 objectives after the grind essentially, and if Harp had just been on the moon, it would have been over. And I don't know if it would have been sub-hour, but it would have been too much more than that.
Would have been really close.
Yeah, we were discussing that like you hadn't even dropped the magma key. 25 treasures for you. Like you just had a very focused, very, very intent on one thing, which was go do the moon. Do my grind, do the moon. Try to make this not even have to go underground and just like win the game.
Yep. So yeah, definitely happy to get the win. Super surprised that I was able to go undefeated in this portion of the event, and now I guess we're in a waiting game. We had a pretty good record. My teammates are all amazing, and just so many wins that the Rusty Spoons have racked up. It's been so much fun with this event. Whoever came up with this idea deserves a raise.
Yeah, you can direct the credit to largely Blaze and Niabari. They were both instrumental in bringing the League concept to life. So all your kudos will be directed to them and should be directed to them. They did a phenomenal job.
Like in the single player tournaments, we all have our buddies in the community that we root for. But then when you're on a team and you have this vested interest, and all these other races are suddenly just so important in this silly game that we play, and it was just an amazing feeling to play, to watch, to commentate, and now to I feel like the Giants at the end of the season, waiting for someone to beat the Eagles and get us into the playoffs.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, that hurts, but yeah.
We can't beat the Eagles, so someone else better.
Yeah. But that does put y'all in prime position. Obviously, you have to, wait and see what happens. But, phenomenal job to you individually and to the team as a whole, securing the week. You and Zilch both coming out victorious so far this week. And we'll see what if the playoffs are on the horizon, what the playoffs have in store for the Rusty Spoons, and certainly would hope we can see you there and get to watch you play some more, and maybe be so blessed as to commentate some more of your races. I don't really have too many questions for you because it was a very straightforward seed from the path you took. But anything
and you did
else
anything and everything except for Baron. So GG's on that too.
If there's anything else you'd like to elaborate on or talk about, the floor is yours, my friend.
Speaking of the floor, I like how Tella took the counter nuke in the Z fight, so that was kind of convenient. And just if it turns out that we don't make the playoffs, again, just a great event. Big ups to my teammates, Zilch, Rex Raul, Maggie the Cat. Lots of fun playing with them, watching them, and just enjoying this game, this community, this event. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you for putting on a show and for being awesome.
Oh, no problem. Do what I can. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for the restream. GG again, Rex.
GG Korgs. Thank you again for a heck of a show. And that was our winner of the Korgs versus Rex Banner match. Micro Korgs, we're now joined by Rex Banner. And Rex, first of all, GG's. Second of all, do you have to make everybody look so bad when you just one-shot Odin every time?
I didn't one-shot him. He picked Kane off the first time, was not impressed.
Yeah, well, but that was not an execution thing. That was, you got unlucky. When you had a chance to execute it, you nailed it, and it was no problem.
It just looks so easy, and it's not, because I can't do it.
I may have practiced, Kane, you're struck a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I may have practiced it just a little bit.
Just a little. Okay, fair. Well, practice pays off, friend. And you know what? This race was so close the entire time. Even though you ended up doing a little bit different paths. You both demoneyed, but you did it at different times. And then that led you doing, slightly different things in a different order. But man, what a race this was. It was so close.
Yeah, I sort of seen when I was in the Z fight, and then I seen Korg's done. I'm like, oh, I guess we're having a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, it was good to see. Micro Korgs is always a fun time. We're generally back and forth a lot. We're 50-50, I think, most of the time. I'll get him once, he'll get me the next time, and it just goes back and forth. It's always a lot of fun with the races and with Micro Korgs.
So I do have one question. Who were you looking for on the Giant?
I was sort of hoping for that hidden Cecil, or, maybe even a Fu, not so much, but more like a Cecil, someone hidden that, I didn't think anyone else would go after. And it definitely was not Rydia. And that's what
There were all the
race.
summons.
Yeah, but getting her up to level? No. No, I did one D machine. I'm not doing second D machine.
It's okay, I don't blame you. I will not hold it against you this time.
I think kind of building on that, Rex, again, first and foremost, heck of a performance as always. Ever the showman, never change. But as far as that seed was concerned, like, most of these, the vast majority of Moonveil mixers, they don't throw D machine at you. This one was like screaming from the high heavens that, like, just do it. And you resisted for a while, but you ultimately did end up doing that D machine. Were you considering at any point not D machining, or was that always the plan for you, even with the sirens available?
That was the plan. With having Yong on the team, he needs levels, so I bought the sirens. I just grabbed a stack of 10, more or less. I wanted to ensure I could get Yong and Rosa down to the point of where they would get the slingshot. As much as Porum would be nice to get her up to white, I was more concerned about levels on Yong and making him actually useful, because the only way he becomes useful with levels, and I didn't want to wait for that on him. So it was more me just looking for ways, like what was available and how, if Yong was still going to be my best choice.
Yeah, certainly makes sense. Figured it was worth the question to find out where the mind of Rex was at that point, especially after, again, flexing on the rest of the FE universe with the Odin kill. So, unfortunately for, from the team aspect, this does, I believe eliminate the team from playoff contention based on, tiebreakers and other such things. But as far as the tournament as a whole, for both you individually and for the team, just kind of how have you felt about things?
Well, overall, it's been good. It's, the folks on the team have been great. It's different for me. I won't admit I'm always the greatest with teams. I always feel like I'm holding them back, but that's just me and myself. But honestly, the team's been great. It's been fun. I'm still not a fan of the Ocean Party seeds. I wish I could have did a little bit better for the team on those. But the mixer seeds I had a blast with.
Yeah, flag set related, with two such different flag sets, it would be almost impossible to have a crossover where everybody adored both. So that is certainly understandable that, Moonveil Mixer, I can certainly see that playing to your strengths more than Potion Party. So very understandable for that to be the case. But glad to hear that, the team was good and that, you still had fun with everything. And always a pleasure to get to watch you do what you do, Rex.
for sure.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you folks on comms and have all your folks, restreaming like Dothis, and then Maggie, I'm gonna assume, was pushing buttons, and there's usually one more, I think? Or did we only have one person keeping the buttons away from you today?
I think it was just Maggie doing the Lord's work and pulling double duty as a single button pusher for 4 people, which is the actual hardest job of everybody involved.
No
Impressive.
kidding.
Especially with you trying to eat them all the time, like. Well
I'd say
done,
how dare
Maggie.
you, but you're not lying.
Well done, Maggie. You're the true one that held the stream together today, so thank you. And thank you to all the folks that show up to watch these. Without all of this, we couldn't have these and, have the time we do. It's always fun. I always enjoy doing these. And I hope you folks are able to have a good evening, and good luck to the other racers, and GG's once again to Quarks.
GG, sir. Race well
GG's
run.
Rex.
Thank you. Have a good night, folks.
So while we have been interviewing, Bardic Panda has had a little bit of trouble with the sea fight, has wiped twice, I want to say, and I think it comes down to a little bit of agility shenanigans without a curse ring, and just maybe not high enough grind to be putting out enough power with our 2 Zerkers that we have.
Yeah, the issue is that if Rosa gets high rolled here, and it's not even like a giga high roll, it's just like a kind of high roll, she's gonna fall over and the fight's gonna go unfortunately the way that this one has. Basically what the issue here is that there's not enough actions being taken with high powered folks. Like, this Yang is dealing a ton of damage, but Rose is at an HP breakpoint that is maybe 200 HP below where she really needs to be. So, to be safe and not have to nerf. I know that in this situation, there's a very difficult decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
That decision is, do I continue to press on with Z, or do I go take a grind and get, especially Rosa, to 22, 24, 2700 health, however much health it is. You know where Sirens are? Rosa at 2700 health can never die in a Z fight, barring very weird circumstances like, Big Bang into Meteo.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, even if that happens, the rest of your Zerkers carry home the fight. So in a situation like this, if there's the ultimate struggle that's happening, and it's multiple wipes, it can be good also as a calming thing to go and just crack some eggs. Get that XP, get Rosa to 2700 health, guarantee the fight, and calm your nerves at the same time. So we'll see if Bardic Panda opts for that at some point, or if he continues to press, with this Z fight. I think he has the spoons to do it, but it's a very tricky one. To get through this. Z is not free with Sea Hero being on, especially when it's a non-cursed Tela. It's a very awkward break point for this fight.
And not to mention, Young and Kane together, I think, are doing about 5,000 damage around, which is just, it's not where you want to be. It's not easy. It makes this fight really long, and the potential for things to go sideways increases exponentially.
Yeah, it's absolutely true that, the more times you get Big Banged, the more viruses, the more nukes that come out, the more black holes that come out. They all either slow down the fight or they disrupt the cadence of the fight. Either one of those are bad when you're at, moderate levels. And Bardic Panda is at moderate levels. We're looking at a Kane that doesn't even have 2400 HP. There's a world where this is a Kane that can die to an unnerfed 8-roll Big Bang that maxes at 2400, to a 2700 damage Big Bang, which is a 9-roll Big Bang, which is the first, third, fifth Big Bang, etc. That Kane's no roll to hurt. Him taking a counter nuke here, Not great, but he's going to
No.
be able to walk it off because he resisted quite a bit of that nuke. But it's a rough situation for Bardic Panda. Kudos for sticking it out and attempting this, for what I believe is the 4th time now. But it's a tough spot, both execution-wise and mentally, because it will start to wear on you.
And meanwhile, on Yoshi's side, she has received her Earth Crystal, so we'll be following through on this to get the Adamant Rock to forge. So Yoshi will be in her Z fight pretty soon, because this Tower of Zot is not going to be too difficult, especially because we have a Cecil, although that Cecil not really swinging too high. But we do have a Spoon Word.
Yeah, I have to imagine that Cecil does not have a lot of good gear on, and also may not be back road. Because 800 damage from a Cecil, if he's got a big sword, that is not a lot of damage for a 2600 HP Cecil. So I think we're missing a back row glitch on this Cecil.
Yeah.
Not the best nuke target on Bardic Panda's side, but Rosa only takes 1,000, so we've gotten 2 really good nuke rolls, one on Kane, one on Rosa. Very small amounts of damage coming out there. We have another shake coming up, though. Rosa is aiming. Tella is, I think, going to be virusing for a nerf here. But this is also where kind of the what if I don't nerf comes in. If Rosa falls over, the fight goes very sideways very fast. Looks like we may have gotten a tip there, though, so I think we might have just done enough damage to power through without seeing the Big Bang here. So it looks like the damage rolls may have been good enough here compared to the other attempts to at least make it so we might only see like 3 Big Bangs in a Meteor instead of like 4. I say that and then Kane hits for less than 2,000.
Twice in a row.
Yeah.
Kane the betrayer.
This I'm helping moment brought to you by Kane.
Oh, and an Atella Hero Seed, no less.
Outside of the D Machine grind, Tella basically played no part in the seed, which is very interesting. No real usage as a black mage. We didn't really find the right bosses to take advantage of Tella's very wide array of skills. So kind of interesting that outside of that one specific purpose, Tella was almost more of a liability than a benefit, which is kind of rare. Usually you're able to kind of flex some of his abilities and transition them into successful fights. Speaking of successful fights, though, this does look to be going a little bit better. I say that if Rosa dies this counter nuke, this is my fault. Okay, she didn't. Good. I was about to have to apologize profusely to Bardic Panda there. If I cast a curse at Rosa, taking a high roll nuke and dying. But looks like that Rosa is going to walk it off here, and hopefully we're able to kind of get this fight back on track, because the damage has stalled out a little. I think we don't have everybody zerked up at this point. Yeah, jumping is very rough in a Z fight. It takes 4 ticks to get the jump into the air, and I think another 4 to resolve it. Might be able to jump over a Big Bang here, though, which would be pretty swag.
We're just in rocks.
Yeah, well, that works too.
Yep.
Yeah, so a Bardic Panda is going to get through this 4 times a charm, as the old mantra goes. And there is the crack boom. Bardic Panda does come in and is able to get the win over Yoshi Kion. That is going to give Team Last Minute Decisions a 1-0 lead in the series against New Moon. So very well done, keeping the playoff aspirations alive for last-minute decisions by Bardic Panda, who I believe also moves to 5-1 individually, if I'm not mistaken, which is a heck of a record as well. So GG's to that.
GG's Bardic Panda, who has declined an interview this evening. So we will be here to watch Yoshi as she enters her Z fight.
Yeah, and Yoshi certainly in this race, you could look at it a little bit of last but not least. This is coming in to the Z fight with more power, I think, than anybody else has or had. A high 40s Cecil, a low 50s Spoonward, a cursed ring on Atella. This should be a pretty good Z fight for Yoshi, all things considered. Should be a little more comfortable, but again, you know, Z is still not free, it's still spooky, and Eddie still is a liability because one counter nuke and Bard go fall down.
And there goes most of your a big portion of your damage.
And I also don't know if we got a back row put onto Cecil yet, so I am concerned about that. You know, if that is something that was not yet done, might have to use the change row command in this fight to get the most out of that Cecil.
But I did also forget that we do have an Avenger. So that will be a weapon that Yoshi can utilize in this fight, put on Cecil. I don't think that she has any real shiny swords, so that is a pretty decent chunk of damage there.
Yeah, I think Yoshi did the Crystal Sword altar, which had the vanilla Crystal Sword. So she should have a Crystal Sword for this Cecil. Could be mistaken on that, but I believe that, yeah, there's the Crystal Sword in the item inventory for Cecil. Gonna pop the Crystal here. With Cecil, likely Zerk up if we have any Bacchus for Eddie.
Yep,
Looks like we have one, which is perfect, and then probably manually Zerk Cecil here if I had to guess. With Rosa, it would make the most sense for how to plow through this fight very quickly. Get your two Berserkers in queue and let them do Zerker things. Looks like we're opting for the Silk Web first. So this might be a Silk Web from Rosa, a Cure from Porum, and then either Tella Zerking or...
Well, that's not a terrible target at all.
No, Cecil's probably the best target for this team because everyone else could, in theory, like fall over here. But yeah, Porum with the Zerk on Cecil. We have the 2 stacks of slow, in addition to being RA1. Okay, that's Cecil's back road.
Back road.
Yeah, that was a 7,200 damage swing. So yeah, Yoshi is relative agility 1 with multiple Zerkers dealing lots of damage. This is, barring some sort of really weird disaster, this is Zeromus's nightmare.
Because essentially, it's 2 crystal swords.
Yeah. Granted, one of those crystal swords only has 1,100 health.
Well.
But it's still 2 crystal swords. But this is the Cecil difference. No one else opted to take the Cecil, and we see the sheer damage that is coming out here. You know, had Yoshi been on the same path as some of our other runners, may have been able to clear this seed quicker. Don't think Yoshi made any, you know, grand mistakes, just opted for what turned out to be the slower route through the seed, but certainly has executed plenty well, and we're already in Meteor. Like, this fight was... it started and then it ended, and here we are. And yeah, so
Hybrid strats, what?
yeah, just let your people go burr, and yeah, GG's to Yoshi.
And there it is.
That was a Z fight that existed, y'all. I mean, not for long, but it existed.
Yeah, definite GG's to Yoshi, who's also declined to interview this evening. So that is going to wrap up our broadcast on Free Enterprise channel tonight. But wait, we're not
There's
done.
more. Oh.
What? Oh, yes, there is
But
more.
wait, there's more. Yeah, I'm just throwing you off now. I'm messing with you.
Oh my gosh. We are headed over to Free Enterprise 2 to watch the race that has just kicked off, will kick off in a minute. I don't know. I think my time or my clock is behind. But the race between Noobtree and Inju Dave and Irene and Guerin. So we're going to head over that direction. Make sure not to spoil any of the results from this race. And yeah, it's been fun tonight.
Yeah, been an absolute blast. So as we head over to RPG Limit Break, everybody, make sure no spoilers or, the newspapers will come a-flying. Thank you again to everybody involved. Behind the scenes, Dathis rolling a seed with, honestly, a surprising lack of vanilla. To our tracker, Maggie the Cat, the real MVP, doing a 4-person tracking by herself. Absolutely incredible. Our runners, Korgs, Rex Banner, Yoshi Kion, and Bardic Panda. Thank you, all 4 of you, for an amazing race. And of course, JMac, this is fun. I love doing this with you. We should do it again sometime.
Yes, likewise. Also, let me change. We're on RPG Limit Break. There we go. We're going RPG Limit Break, y'all. So we'll see you over there.